And welcome back, or just welcome, if you're new here. My name is Rusty, and this is me channel where I talk about me favorite movies, mostly horror, and me favorite music, mostly metal. And I'm going to talk about a couple of recent watches, or two recent watches and a rewatch, and then we're going to do my October collection update. So yeah, we are going to start off with a fantastic movie called Barbarian. Barbarian was released in 2022. It's a very new movie. It stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård from It, and Justin Long. And yeah, so we are going to talk about that. Now, I like to preview movies before I buy them. I usually don't like to talk about movies I don't already physically own. But, if I know that I'm going to get it, and I am certainly going to get it, then I will go ahead and do shows on, do a review of something that I've seen. I saw this on BitChute on Team Scream, and wow. I watched it like twice in 2 days. I watched it and then I watched it again the next day. And same with the other movie I'm going to do. And as soon as it is available on Blu-ray, it will become part of my collection. No doubt, no problem, instant buy. And that is, of course, Barbarian from 2022. Now, let's get on into it. This story is about Tess. And Tess, she is in town in Detroit, or the outskirts of Detroit. She is in town for a job interview. She pulls up in the middle of the night. It's raining and storming. She pulls up to the B&B that she had rented. We, of course, noticed that it's a really beautiful little house, but it's surrounded by what looks like a slum area, so it looks kind of weird. But she gets out. She tries to get the key out of the lockbox, and there's no key in it. She gets upset. She tries to call the booking agent, but they don't answer. She gets back in her truck and starts to leave when the lights come on, and then we are introduced to Chris. Now, Chris wants to know, what are you doing knocking on me door in the middle of the night? She then proceeds to say, who are you? What are you talking about? I rented this place. He rented this place. Turns out on two different B&B sites, they had rented this place out to Chris and Tess at the same time. They are both rather suspicious. Tess a little more than him, but both of them are very suspicious. They go, he gets her to come in. You as the audience, you have no idea what this movie is going to do, so you're kind of like flowing with it. I really enjoyed that aspect of this movie. Is she the bad one? Is he the bad one? What is this? It was very exciting. So he gets her to stay. She, of course, remains suspicious even after he proves with his phone that he did indeed rent this place. They come to a comfortable understanding. She agrees to stay. He'll sleep on the couch. And they actually get to know each other over a couple of hours, because although she agrees to stay and take the take the bed, she has a fetish about clean bedding. So she actually makes him wash the bedding because, and personally I wouldn't have had that problem because, I got here first. Okay? I got here first. I rented this place. I don't mind you staying in here, but I don't go in for all of that. Oh no, the way I was raised, I'm not going to have a young lady sleeping on the couch. Bullshit. I'm like, hey, I got here first. Take the couch. But then again, I'm not that way. I'm not going to do it. So we wouldn't have had that, and especially after that. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't take the bed because I have a problem with clean sheets. What the fuck you think I did? Shit on it or something? I mean, you don't know me, that's true, but Do I look like I have cooties or something? You know, I mean, whatever. Take the couch. We wouldn't have had that issue. So anyway, she goes to bed, and her bedroom. She wakes up and her bedroom door is open. He's obviously having night terrors on the couch. That was a nice little jump scare. And but they get up the next day. She goes on to her work. He's already gone doing his thing. She goes on to the work interview, and comes back home, and gets chased down the street by this bum. You know, this like bum man who's like coming after her. She barely makes it inside the house, and you know, while he's yelling at her, you know, girl, get away from that house, don't go in there. Which, you know, we come to realize was actually a good suggestion. It was the same suggestion that the boss that she had interviewed, he had done the same. She had done the same thing. She's like, "You're staying where? In that part of town?" And she's like, "But it's a really beautiful house," and it is. Now, when she got back home before that bum chased her, she really saw where she was at. I mean, it looks like fucking Beirut. Yet here is this beautifully maintained, beautiful little house sitting in the middle of all of this, you know, devastation and slumlord stuff. So that looked really out of place, but I thought it was really cool. So she's now kind of freaked out. She's going to get her shit and leave, and ends up going down into the basement. When Keith comes home, she goes down into the basement where she is snooping around for toilet paper, is what she's doing. And she runs across this hidden passage, and at first she had the right idea, because she stared at it, and I really laughed about it, because she stared into that hallway, into this secret door, and she was just like, nope. And I'm like, yeah, no. But curiosity gets the better of her. She positions a mirror underneath the light to shine into there. And I'm like, no. I would have never done that. But she got trapped in there when the door shut, so there was nothing for her to do anyway. She couldn't get out the window. So she goes in there and finds this, looks like, well, obviously I wouldn't have had any question about what it was. It's a torture room. You know, there's a video camera. I would have been a lot more curious about that camera, though. Like, is there a tape in it? I don't know. But, well, I wouldn't have been in there anyway. But she's in there and finds this room, and it really freaks her out. A bed, a bucket, and a camera, and blood on the wall, and a bloody bucket, and stuff like that. So she takes off, tries to get out. Tries to get through that window, realizes she's left her phone up there, her keys up there, everything. So she knows Chris can't come in because she's got the house key in her pocket. So he does come home. She bangs on the window until he notices her. She gives him the key. He gets her out, where she starts telling him about this room. And he's like, calm down, you know. I want to go down there and look. I would have been like, okay, fine, but, you know, I've just asked you to leave 500 times. You want to go down there and check it out? That's fine, but my ass is gone. But that's like a lot of these horror movies. You hear that all the time. You know, people are like, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. Well, of course, but then we wouldn't have a movie, would we? But honestly, no. I would have left his ass. Even if I liked him, I would have left his ass. Go take a look, but my ass is gone. So he goes down there. She agrees to wait so he doesn't get trapped down there himself. He kind of disappears. She hears him calling. She goes in there looking for him. There's even more of this labyrinth than what she thought. Which is even more of a, I would never do that. And there was a fantastic jump scare, because when she does manage to find him, that scared the shit out of me. Then, you know, she's like, we got to go this way. no, that's where it was. No, I just came from that way. But there we go. We're arguing now. So we get to meet this creature. This creature fucking comes out of nowhere, right? You see it coming for a second, and it still scared the absolute shit out of me. And it grabbed Chris, and it bashed his skull in. I'm talking graphically bashing his skull into the walls. No. That was ugly. And then it screamed at her. It might be a little... Well, all of this is a spoiler. This is a spoiler channel. You should know that. But the creature was played by a man. In case you didn't know that. But so then it screams at her, and boom, the whole movie just changes. You just got the absolute shit scared out of you, and then boom, we're suddenly with this dipshit you haven't seen named AJ riding down the road in his car singing a stupid Ricky Tikki Tavi song. Which, on a side note, Ricky Tikki Tavi is my favorite cartoon ever made. I have seen Ricky Tikki Tavi, the story one, the Cobra, the little boy and the parents and the Cobra, Shere Khan. I have seen Ricky Tikki Tavi at least 500 times in my lifetime. I love Ricky Tikki Tavi. But anyway, so we have AJ riding down the road. I immediately hated his guts. I could just tell. Just the way he was singing that song, I could just tell. I hate him. I know I hate him. I feel inside that I am going to be vindicated. I can just tell I hate him. But anyway, he gets a phone call. It's from his agent and another person where they inform him that the show that he is working on, he's basically been fired from because his co-star accused him of assault, and he's so flabbergasted he has to pull over, because we know what that's like, right? We've seen it all in the news. So that probably flashed all in his head that he was fixing to be the new Weinstein or something. So he flipped out. He stopped. He can't believe what's going on. Not only was that going on, but it was going to be in the Hollywood Reporter the next day. So his career basically just, one minute he's okay, the next minute he is completely fucked. Now, of course, you still have whiplash from this story changing to another story so quick, and you're still going, is Tess dead? What? So we continue with his story where even his own money manager, his wealth manager, wouldn't you like to have one? But his wealth manager is like, I'm letting you go as well. But I'm just going to do this last little calculations for you. You've got about 3 months worth of money. You might as well sell your house here, because your mortgage is the biggest part of your money drain. So that's when we finally see what the fuck this has to do with the movie that you just watched for 30 minutes. He owns that house. It's one of his properties. So he's like either going to go stay there or try to liquidate. But so he ends up going to Detroit. We find out that it's been about 2.5 weeks since we just left. He goes to that house. He finds their stuff. He finds Tess's laptop, Chris's clothes, their luggage. He thinks, what if I got squatters? He calls the agent, and he's like, is there somebody staying here? There's people's stuff here. I don't understand. He then, of course, goes out and proves without a doubt that I hated him. Is there anybody out there that did not hate AJ? Please tell me in the comments. I feel really bad that Chris died and he didn't at this time. So he goes out with some buddy of his, comes home drunk, tries to call that girl that is accusing him of that. Finds where Tess had left the basement door open, propped with a chair. Goes down there, finds the room, the hallway, the secret passage, and the only thing that idiot is worried about is whether or not he can include the square footage in the offering of the house for sale. I had never in my life seen someone going down a long labyrinth under a house, and he's really just whistling and happy about all the extra square footage he could add to the house. And I'm like, well, granted, you don't know what we know, but even if nothing had happened, if I find a giant labyrinth under my house, I'm not going to be walking through it in the dark with a measuring tape. I'm going to be nervous. He had no nervousness at all. So he ends up, this creature finally comes after him. And he ends up, I'm not even using my notes. So this creature comes after him, and we see a cool chase scene, and then all of a sudden he falls in a pit, and this cage door falls over his head, and all of a sudden Tess jumps out of the dark and starts telling him to be quiet. And you're like, okay, damn, this movie has got me several jump scares already. I mean, it's really, the way he filmed it was really, really good. So now they're stuck down there, and we see this creature stick down this bottle that looked like it was a baby bottle, that looked like it was from like the 40s or 50s. Yeah, like the 60s. It was a weird baby bottle. But, and Tess is like telling him to drink. And he is, of course, freaked the fuck out, as any of us would be. And she keeps trying to get him to drink, and then, the creature turns it to her. I don't know what we could call this creature. Mom? Let's just call it Mom. So, Mom turns it to her, and she actually drinks out of it. And she keeps trying to get him to drink out of it, but he won't. And Tess keeps trying to tell him, like, she just wants you to be her baby. You're fessing to fuck up is what you're going to do. Which he did, because she got mad. She opened up the cage and drug him out of it. Now, when she drug him out of it and drug him down the hall, she gets him on that bed where she obviously lives, and in front of this baby nursing video, and she's trying to make him drink out of that. Now, it's about right here somewhere that we have another flashback. Now, all of a sudden, the movie goes left turn, and we're at what is obviously the early 80s, like 82. All I know is Reagan is president. So it's like 1980 or 1981 or something like that. And we see this creepy looking guy, tall, thin, creepy guy. And he is like going through the store asking for baby stuff. He's getting baby wipes, and he's getting plastic sheeting, and he's getting stuff like that. And this lady's helping him get the stuff, including that we get to see the VHS of that baby nursing video. So he buys all of this stuff, and on the way out, we see him obviously stalking some woman. He notices a woman, and he goes back home, drops off his stuff where this guy, his neighbor, and we get to see what that neighborhood looked like before the housing crash. It looked like something out of, Pleasantville. It was beautiful and pristine. So we see him go and dress in like a water company uniform, where he goes into that woman's house, and we see him unlock her bathroom window with his fake visit, and we know now that he is kidnapping women, taking them in there. And then, it flashes back, and here we are back with Tess and AJ. Now, because AJ is being, I guess Mom is pissed off that the baby won't drink, so she's trying to force the baby to drink. This gives Tess the opportunity to escape, and she does. And she tries to tell that, that old man is out there, hasn't seen her in 2.5 weeks, and he starts telling her how lucky she is, and that creature comes out at night and all this kind of stuff. So he knew about it. She refuses to leave, though, because even though, I guess probably after what happened to Chris, and probably because she's a good person, she just was not going to leave AJ. Personally, I think you should fucking leave AJ, but that's just me. So she's not going to leave AJ, so she ends up walking off to the nearest place where she can get a phone, because she's not going back down there for hers. And that's when, and this might piss some people off, but she calls the cops, and the dibble come. And I really love the First Amendment Auditor videos. I'm subscribed to a lot of them and all of that. They are the epitome of useless, like most cops are. I was so angry at her trying to get help, and these cops did absolutely nothing. Their attitude towards her, the way they behaved, it was just like, yeah, that's not too far from the fucking truth. But, so she's just like, well, fuck it then. I'll do this myself. So she does manage to get back in there, and she gets her keys. She gets, darkness is coming. And sure enough, that creature, who now knows she's gone, comes out after her. Now, she takes her SUV, and she rams Mom into the wall and busts the wall open right above the basement. So you think she's dead. It made it look like she was dead. She gets out, she runs in there, she manages to go down there to find AJ, and that fucking dick shoots her, right? She gets like shot in the abdomen. Thankfully it didn't kill her. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he gets up, she gets up, and they manage to get out of there. They don't know what to do because she doesn't have the keys, or he doesn't have the keys to his car, and he's not going back down there. So she's like, well, I know somewhere we can go. That's the old man who lived down there down the road at the water tower. So they go down there, and the man's like, don't worry, she's never come in here. She just doesn't come in here. Well, she comes in there. And she rips off that old man's arm and beats him to death with his own arm. Now, AJ and Tess go running up the water fountain trying to get away, and she's shot. They get to the top, and I'll be damned, because Mom's coming up, and AJ's like, oh, we're fucked. I swear it was like Bill Paxton and Aliens, you know what I mean? We're in some pretty shit now. And then all of a sudden, that dickwad pushes Tess off the top of the water tower. And I was like, see? I was right. 2 seconds after I saw that motherfucker in the car, when we were introduced to his character, I told you, this is a person who needs to die. That's all I can tell you. Now, Mom jumps after Tess. And how she got underneath her, I don't know. She managed to get to her. Maybe she's heavier than Tess. Does weight matter when you're falling off of a water tower? I don't know. But in any event, she manages to get under Tess, and Tess lands on her. So AJ goes back down there and is like, can't believe that Tess is still alive because she landed on Mom. And he's trying to get her up when Mom wakes up and does an exquisite thing, which was she grabbed him by the head and actually literally ripped his head in half. You know, like a pumpkin. Eyes, domes in the eyes, rip the head open. That was pretty damn gross. Now, I just realized, not using my notes, that I left something out. Back before Tess went down there and rescued him, he found that man. He kept running from her, and he got all the way to the end of the labyrinth where there was this little creep room and this really old man. So you think 1980, 2022, he looked about 40. So he was like 80, you know? But AJ tried to help him and found all of these tapes. So we now got that answer. He was a serial killer who had been bringing women down there, mating with them, forcing them to have babies, having babies with the babies, mating with his own children. So how there was only one, I don't know. But he had 100 tapes of women he had brought in there and tortured and done stuff to. So that was kind of fucked up. Now we're back to her ripping his head in half. And, it was so gross. And then the mom started trying to get her baby back, Tess, you know, and when she got up in her face and was doing that, I thought I was going to puke. I don't know. The whole thing had me so stressed. It had me so stressed. And that thing, I was just like, I would fucking die. I would just go, never mind, and just die. Just to get out of it. I mean, it was disturbing. And she reaches over, grabs the gun, and shoots Mom. And finally, you know, it's over. So that was Barbarian. That movie was so damn good that like I said, I had to watch it the next day again. It's definitely going to be, you know, it was definitely did I give it a score? It was definitely a 9 out of 10. You know, it was definitely a 9 out of 10. No doubt about it. It will be an insta-buy the second it's available for Blu-ray to go in my collection. I absolutely love this movie. The story was so unique. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie that, 3 times it did it? Well, 1, 2, we went to AJ. 3, we went to Frank. I think his name was Frank. And then back to, so like twice the movie just like turned into a different movie for a second, and it really gave you whiplash. But in a good way. I really enjoyed that. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, that was refreshing. That was new. So yeah, if you haven't seen Barbarian, it is an absolute fantastic movie. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. I absolutely adored that movie. That movie was so beyond good. It's definitely in my top 10 of 2022. We have, 2 months left now? I already know that there are several. I mean, I'm sure people are starting to get together there. And of course, people can only judge on movies that they've seen. So everybody's end of the year top 20, top 10 movies of 2022 is going to be different, mainly because we don't all get to see the same movies. And but Barbarian is in my top 10 of 2022. Pearl, X, The Black Phone, All four of them are definitely close to the top in my top 10. Smile will probably be in my top 10 as well. We'll see what else comes out. But yeah, so that's Barbarian 2022. Thank you very much for stopping by. I know I look like Pippi Longstocking, but if you don't know, I am a grunge rock, grunge rock, metalhead, skate punk. I absolutely love being unique, and I love being a skate punk, and I will always be a skate punk. My wheel just broke on my skateboard, and that pissed me off because now I'm gonna have to. I really love my skateboard. It's got my cool stickers on it, and I'm like, well, I could just buy another skateboard, and then I'm like, no, you can't take your stickers off. You can't take your stickers off once you put them on a skateboard. I'm like, well, then I'm gonna have to buy new wheels for my skateboard because the skateboard part is fine, the board is fine, but my front skate, it just like the wheel just fell apart. I nearly busted my ass. I nearly fell off the porch. You know, because I'm like being a dumb. I mean, like playing, and I'm being a smart ass on the front porch, and it's like the wheel just, do you understand what I'm saying? The wheel fell apart. And I'm like, how does the wheel fall apart? I'm like, I don't know. When did you change this wheel? Like 5 years ago or something? It probably just fell apart. You know what I mean? It's like the tire tread just came off the truck, off the wheel of the truck. The actual tread, the whole thing just fell off my skateboard. Anyway, yes, it pissed me off. But anyway, I will see you in the next one. Love you, miss you, bye. Always remember and never forget, you are a very, very important, special, and unique person. Even if you're not an inbred escapee from the hills have eyes living in an underground labyrinth underneath a bed and breakfast. Yes, you're still special, even if you're not that. And I will see you in the next one. Love you, miss you. Bye.